Imagine the most celebrated birthday in history. Streets lit up with twinkling lights, joyous carols filling the air, and people all over the world celebrating a day they believe marks the birth of someone extraordinary, Jesus Christ. But what if I told you that the centuries-old story we've heard might not be entirely accurate? What if the date we celebrate every December 25th isn't the true day Jesus was born? The truth is, the Bible offers us fascinating hints that could point to the real time of Jesus' birth. These aren't just random facts buried in old scriptures. They're pieces of a puzzle that, when put together, tell a story that's both surprising and awe-inspiring. So, how did December 25th become the official date of Jesus' birth? You might be surprised to learn that the Bible never mentioned this date. Not once. Instead, Roman festivals and traditions, not the actual events surrounding Jesus' birth, influenced the decision to set the date centuries later. During the early days of Christianity, the Roman Empire celebrated a festival called Saturnalia, a week-long party in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture. It was a time of feasting, gift-giving, and general merriment. Around the same time, Romans also marked the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, with celebrations to honor the rebirth of the sun. As Christianity spread through the empire, early church leaders strategically chose December 25th to coincide with these festivities, possibly to make the Christian faith more relatable to pagan converts. It was a brilliant move, but it might have overshadowed the real timing of Jesus' birth. The Bible doesn't leave us entirely in the dark about the timing of Jesus' birth. In fact, it gives us clues that might reveal the truth. Take, for example, the shepherds watching their flocks by night, Luke 2:8. In Bethlehem, December nights are often too cold for shepherds to stay out in the fields with their sheep. Instead, shepherds were more likely to be outside during warmer months, like spring or early autumn. This single verse challenges everything we think we know about the Christmas story. The Gospel of Luke describes a moment that has become iconic in the Nativity story: shepherds tending their flocks at night, receiving the news of Jesus' birth from an angel. While Christian tradition deeply ingrains this image, it raises questions about the time of year such events could have occurred. Shepherds in Judea typically kept their sheep in open fields during the warmer months, when pastures were abundant and the weather was mild. Although not as severe as in some parts of the world, winters in the region were cold and often rainy, making it unlikely that shepherds stood outside with their flocks at night. Sheep typically found shelter in enclosures during the colder season, providing them with better protection from the elements. The presence of shepherds in the fields suggests a time of year more conducive to outdoor grazing, such as late spring, summer, or early autumn. The climate in Bethlehem and its surroundings would have been better for livestock and shepherds in these seasons. This key detail from Luke's Gospel challenges the idea of a December birth, inviting us to explore alternative timelines based on historical and cultural contexts. Another significant factor in the Nativity story is the Roman census, which required Mary and Joseph to travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem. This journey, approximately 90 miles, would have been arduous under any circumstances, but especially so for Mary, who was nearing the end of her pregnancy. Historical records and practical considerations suggest that such a census was unlikely to have been conducted in the winter. Roman administrators, known for their efficiency, would have chosen a time of year when travel conditions were optimal to ensure maximum compliance. The region's cold, rainy weather made roads treacherous, and the lack of modern infrastructure meant that even small journeys could become dangerous. A census during this season would have hindered people's ability to register, undermining the purpose of the exercise. Instead, it is more plausible that the census occurred during a period when roads were dry, temperatures were moderate, and agricultural activity was low, allowing people to leave their homes without disrupting their livelihoods. Spring and autumn stand out as likely candidates for such an event. In the Roman calendar, December 25th marked the winter solstice, a pivotal moment in the yearly cycle. Although our modern calendars place the solstice around December 21st, the ancients often celebrated it on the 25th due to variations in their calculations. The solstice signaled the shortest day and the longest night of the year, but more importantly, it symbolized the turning point when daylight hours began to increase. For many cultures, this astronomical event held profound spiritual meaning. It represented the triumph of light over darkness, renewal, and the promise of life returning in the spring. The rebirth of the sun was a central theme in numerous mythologies and religious observances. In Rome, the solstice was closely tied to the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, or the birth of the unconquered sun, a festival dedicated to the sun god Sol Invictus. Celebrated on December 25th, this holiday gained prominence under Emperor Aurelian in the late 3rd century CE. Sol Invictus was seen as a unifying deity, representing the resilience and vitality of the Roman Empire. The celebration included feasting, gift-giving, and public festivities, reflecting the importance of the solstice in Roman society. It was a moment of joy and hope, as the sun's increasing strength promised the return of warmth and growth after the cold and barren winter. Scholars suggest that early Christians chose December 25th to commemorate the birth of Jesus as a strategic measure to aid in the transition of Roman society from paganism to Christianity. By aligning the celebration of Christ's birth with the existing festival of Sol Invictus, Christian leaders could present Jesus as the true light of the world, a concept deeply resonant with the imagery of the sun's rebirth. This association made the new faith more relatable to pagan converts, who could see parallels between their traditional beliefs and the Christian narrative. The establishment of December 25th as the official date of Christmas was solidified by the 4th century CE. By this time, Christianity had become the dominant religion in the Roman Empire, and the Church sought to unify believers under common practices. The date's adoption helped to consolidate the faith, providing a focal point for communal worship and reflection on the significance of Christ's incarnation. However, it is important to note that the Bible does not specify the exact date of Jesus' birth, and historical evidence suggests that it likely occurred during a different time of year. Nevertheless, the choice of December 25th is a testament to the adaptability of early Christianity and its ability to weave new meaning into existing traditions. By choosing a date already steeped in symbolism and celebration, the Church transformed the winter solstice from a pagan observance into a cornerstone of Christian worship. The blending of cultural and religious elements not only facilitated the spread of Christianity, but also enriched its tapestry of traditions, creating a holiday that continues to inspire and unite millions around the world. The exact date of Jesus' birth has long been a subject of scholarly discussion and speculation, with the widely celebrated December 25th considered unlikely by many researchers. Alternative dates, particularly in September and March, have gained traction among historians and theologians, offering compelling arguments rooted in biblical interpretation, cultural practices, and historical context. September, often associated with the early days of autumn, emerges as a strong contender for Jesus' birth. This theory is closely tied to the priestly service of Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. According to the Gospel of Luke, Zechariah belonged to the priestly division of Abijah, one of the 24 groups of priests assigned to serve in the temple on a rotational basis. Historical records and Jewish tradition suggest that Zechariah's service occurred in late spring, likely around May or June. Following his return home, his wife Elizabeth conceived, and 6 months later, Mary conceived Jesus. Based on this timeline, Jesus' birth would align with the early autumn months, particularly September. The argument for March is also bolstered by certain early Christian traditions. Some early theologians, such as Hippolytus of Rome, suggested dates in the spring for the Annunciation, the moment when Mary was told she would conceive Jesus. Counting forward 9 months from such an event naturally leads to March as a potential time frame for the birth. Both September and March offer intriguing alternatives to the traditional December date, each supported by distinct yet interwoven strands of evidence. The September hypothesis emphasizes the priestly service of Zechariah, aligning with the agricultural cycles and travel conditions of early autumn. Meanwhile, the March theory underscores the symbolic and spiritual resonance of spring, aligning with themes of renewal and hope. The Bible offers rich details about the events surrounding the birth of Jesus, but pinpointing the exact date of his arrival remains elusive. Several biblical passages provide clues that hint at the timing of his birth, yet they stop short of offering definitive answers. These verses, when examined closely, spark fascinating theories about when the nativity may have occurred, whether in spring, autumn, or another season entirely. Matthew's Gospel also contributes to the discussion, though indirectly. The story of the Magi visiting Jesus and bringing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, Matthew 2:1-12, doesn't specify the time of year. However, their journey likely took considerable time, especially as they followed a celestial event interpreted as the Star of Bethlehem. John's Gospel, while less focused on the details of Jesus' birth, offers profound theological reflections that link Jesus with light, John 1:4-9. This imagery of light overcoming darkness resonates deeply with the symbolism of the winter solstice, a time when days begin to grow longer. Despite these verses offering tantalizing hints, none provide a definitive answer about the timing of Jesus' birth. The Gospels were written to convey theological truths and the significance of Jesus' life, rather than to document exact dates. The lack of precise details about the timing of Jesus' birth does not diminish the story's power or its meaning. Instead, it invites believers to focus on the larger significance of the Nativity, the arrival of hope, redemption, and divine love. The verses that frame the birth narrative serve as a guide, not a calendar, reminding us of the profound impact of Jesus' life, regardless of the exact moment it began. King Herod, often referred to as Herod the Great, plays a significant role in the narrative surrounding the birth of Jesus. His involvement not only adds historical context to the nativity story, but also highlights the tension between worldly power and divine purpose. Herod's actions and their implications are woven deeply into the biblical account, creating a dramatic backdrop to the arrival of the Messiah. Herod ruled Judea under Roman authority from approximately 37 BCE to 4 BCE. Known for his political savvy and grand architectural projects, such as the expansion of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, Herod also garnered a reputation for ruthlessness. His reign was marked by paranoia and cruelty, as he frequently acted to eliminate perceived threats to his power, even within his own family. This darker aspect of Herod's character becomes central to his involvement in the nativity story. The birth of Jesus Christ is a story that transcends time, tradition, and even historical uncertainty. Whether it occurred under the bright skies of spring, the golden hues of autumn, or a cold winter's night, its importance lies far beyond the calendar. It is a story of divine intervention, humility, and hope, a moment when the extraordinary met the ordinary to change the course of humanity forever. While debates about the timing of his birth continue, what remains clear is the powerful message it carries. The shepherds in the fields, the journey of Mary and Joseph, and the light of the star that guided the Magi all weave together a narrative of faith overcoming adversity. These symbols remind us not of when the event took place, but of why it matters: the arrival of a Savior to bring peace and redemption to the world. Exploring the clues left behind in scripture and history deepens our understanding of this sacred event, yet it also highlights the beauty of its mystery. If you're enjoying this journey into the fascinating stories, consider supporting this work by sending a super thanks. Your contribution is helping to keep this content alive. The exact date may remain hidden, but the heart of the story, love, sacrifice, and divine grace, is timeless. It invites us to reflect on the meaning of this birth, not as an isolated moment in history, but as a continuous call to faith and renewal. Jesus' birth is not bound by a single day or season. It is a story that unfolds in the hearts of those who embrace its message, offering comfort in times of sorrow, guidance in moments of doubt, and a profound sense of purpose. It is a story of beginnings, not just for one child in a manger, but for every person who finds inspiration in his life. In the end, the question of when fades, leaving only the beauty of what and why. Jesus' birth is not just a moment frozen in history. It is a living testament to the power of love and the enduring promise of redemption. It invites each of us to carry its light forward, honoring its lessons not with a single date on the calendar, but with the choices we make every day to bring peace, kindness, and grace to the world. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to the channel. See you in the next video.